Hey, what's going on, guys? So I sat down today to edit the video that you're about to see, and I tested a whole bunch of new products in the first half of the video, but when I went back to edit, it was all out of focus. I don't know what happened. Luckily, the second half of the video, for some reason, when I started on the eyes, worked out. So the video is gonna start in kind of a random spot. It's just gonna start right after I pretty much finish the face and start on the eyes, but I'm so excited. I got my hands on a new palette. But don't worry, you're going to be seeing all of the new products that I used and a couple of new products in a video that I'll be filming pretty soon and will be putting out on my channel as well. So don't worry, you won't miss anything. I just needed to come on here and explain what happened, so enjoy the rest of the video. So we're going to take a break from the face and we're going to dive into my brand new palette. I am so excited about this. So if you guys remember, I had bought, I think it's actually downstairs, but I had bought my first Morphe palette not too long ago, and I kind of had a love-hate relationship with it. Some of the eyeshadows were great, some of them were kind of patchy and not really pigmented, so I was a little bit iffy to try more Morphe palettes, but I saw this one at Ulta and I died. I was like, I have to have this in my collection. This is the 352 Second Nature palette, and it reminded me a lot of Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, which I do also own, but I noticed with the Naked Heat palette, there's only really one like kind of transition shade that I enjoy using in that palette, so I wanted more of a variety. So the Morphe palettes do come bubble wrapped when you first take them out of the packaging. Oh, it's upside down. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to use this palette. So it's all these gorgeous warm tone shadows. Let me take off this plastic. This plastic piece does come with all the names on top, so I'm definitely gonna keep it so I can tell you guys which shadows, of course, I'm using. Oh my gosh, look at these shadows. Like, these orangey ones are speaking to me today. So we're gonna create a look using this palette. I am so excited. I think I kind of want to create like a halo eye today because I want to try to use as many colors as I possibly can. So I think we're gonna first start with this shade right here, which is called Universal. Very nice. And taking a big fluffy brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of this product. Okay, not terrible on the fallout. There's a little bit right here on the pan that I can see, but picked up a nice amount. And I'm just going to start sweeping this in my crease. Ooh, hello pigment. The color is nicely pigmented and it seems to be blending out really well. So with the first shadow, so far so good. I just wiped off the brush a little bit so I can go back into the shadow without adding any more, just to soften it up. Next, from the second row, I want to pick up this kind of darker orange shade here called Ablaze. Oh my gosh, I just dipped my brush into it a little bit and it picked up so much. So using an angled brush, I'm just going to sweep it into that crease. Whoa. And it's okay if it gets a little bit on the lid because we'll be going into concealer in a little bit. But I just want to sweep this back and forth. Wow. Okay. I'm going to wipe off my brush a little bit because that's a lot of pigment. I just want it to be a little bit softer. That is amazing. I'm already loving this palette way more than my first one, which I'm actually really excited about. I'm really excited that I have another really warm tone with those oranges and red palette with so many selections of color. I'm gonna work that right into that inner corner here and just make sure that when it meets up with that other transition shadow, that it just blends out nicely. So I can lie the product down and then go back into that fluffy brush just to soften up that edge a little bit. We'll even go back into that first shadow that we used and just add a little bit more right on top to make sure that it's poking through. Ooh, that's pretty. I'm kind of going for that sunset vibe, and that's what we're getting so far. I'm gonna pick out way less for this next eye, knowing how pigmented that shadow is. I think I'm gonna even take a little bit of that orangey shadow and work it right into my outer V and a little bit on my inner corner as well. The inner corner of my eyelid, not where my tear duct is. So just kind of smoking it out in that corner and then pushing it back into the crease a little bit. I didn't even dip in again, but I'm gonna put it right in this inner third. My vision is so poor, so I'm just gonna use the mirror on one of my other palettes just to help me see a little bit better. Next, I want to pick up this really vibrant red called Fire. fitting. On an even smaller crease brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that, and I'm going to work it again into my crease, but really just push it right into that socket. And not really even blending the eyeshadow anywhere. I'm just going to sweep it back and forth. Ooh, that's really pretty as well. Holy smoke-olies. And I say this in a lot of my tutorials, don't be afraid to go back and forth in between brushes, in between colors, because you're not going to get it perfect the first round. So if you add a shadow and it's taking away from another shadow, don't be afraid to go back in and add a little bit more. You want those colors to show. So I'm just adding a little bit more of that orange right on top of that red. And this fluffy brush is a saving grace just to make sure it all ombres and looks really nice. So you can see the difference. This one has the red, this one only has orange so far. Tell me about how it was just 72 degrees outside yesterday and now it's snowing. I'm making this up as we go. I'm not really sure what I want to do next, so let's figure that out. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is create the halo effect using the concealer. So I'm actually gonna take the Born This Way concealer I talked about earlier in the video and take a little bit on the back of my hand. I like using a flat shader brush, so I just pick up a little bit on the back of my hand and work it into the bristles. And then starting right in the center of my eye, I'm just going to start patting the concealer and blend it outwards a little bit. The brush is a little bit too big when I get close to the crease, so I take a nice small brush and I just kind of create a half moon shape, and that kind of gives me a guideline of where I want to stop blending this concealer. So then I go back into that flat shader brush and I continue to blend out. I'm not going to blend out too much, just a little bit. Again, kind of make that half moon shape here. Whoop, that one went a little bit crazy, but we'll fix that. I just want to make sure that both eyes are pretty even. Of course, go back in and fix it with eyeshadow later, so the concealer definitely doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, once my concealer is on, I want to find what color I want to put on the center of my lid to kind of be like that impact color. And there is one color that's been speaking to me since I bought this palette, which is like this metallic-y orange right here called Sauce. So I'm going to take up this little flat shader brush from e.l.f. A little bit of fallout, tap it off, and I'm just going to pack it right over that concealer. Not honestly as pigmented as I was hoping it would be, so I'm going to take a little bit of my setting spray and I'm just going to spray my brush a couple of times, and then I'm going to go back into that Sauce color and try packing it on again. Oh yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Alright, wow. I think I'm gonna next take this shade right here called Rustic. It's right below Fire, and I'm gonna use that same smaller crease brush. Just pick up a little bit of this color, and I'm gonna start ombreing this orange into our outer V shade. So like right at the edge of that center color, I'm just blending it out a little bit. Getting a little bit of fallout on my cheeks, but nothing too terrible. I'm honestly kind of wondering if I should have done the center. There's this really pretty gold shade right here. I'm kind of debating. We're gonna do it. I'm just gonna plop that right on the center. I know we just did a cut crease and everything. I know we just did a halo eye, but I think I'm just going to take my finger and just kind of pat it, and I'm not even going to bring it all the way up. I'm just patting it right close to my lash line. It looks really pretty. Okay, I'm happy with that. I think the last thing that I'm going to do for shadow is just deepen up that outer V a little bit more, at least on the top lid. We're looking a little crazy. And I think to do that, I'm going to take Heat, which is one of the darker reds here. Still using that same brush. I'm just going to pat it right in that outer V just to deepen it up even more. Not really dragging it anywhere, just keeping it right there, but making sure it's a little bit blended out so it's not too harsh. All right, I'm going to quickly wipe away any fallout. Again, there really wasn't a whole lot, which I'm really happy about. Sometimes it's really hard to work with super bright colors without getting a ton of fallout on your face. So I'm really satisfied about that. I'm going to line my waterline using this Scandalized pencil from Rimmel London, and it's in the shade called Bulletproof Beige. Don't cry, it's okay. Ooh, that's itchy. Then I'm going to go back into that gold shade that I used, which by the way is called Pure. It's the second one in this row. And I'm going to highlight my inner corner using it. Oh, that is so pretty. What a pretty shade. You know what? I'm just going to drag it on my lower lash line as well. I really like this shadow. Then I'll take a little pencil brush with that Pure shade and continue sweeping it on my lower lash line. I want to keep my lower lash line quite simple, so I'm not taking away from the top. So I think I'm just going to take this darker brown here, which is called Brick. It's called Brick. Cause she's a brick. How? Taking a little bit on my pencil brush, and I'm just gonna sweep it close to my lash line. I'm gonna stop right where my bottom lashes end. I actually kind of want this look to be quite smoky. And then using the same color on a clean angled brush, I'm gonna make a point right underneath that Pure highlight, like so. And then I can go back, oh god, I almost dropped my Morphe palette. Can go back into that pencil brush and just soften that line up just a smidgen. We are finishing up the other eye, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyeliner. I'll throw on some mascara and lashes as well, and then I'll bring you guys back to finish up the face. Okay, my eyes are completely done, and I am obsessed with the way that it came out. I think just the eyelashes and the eyeliner really pulled it together. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish up the face here. I'm gonna take my bronzer that I've been using for quite a while now, the Becca Capri Coast, and I think I'm just going to take this brush. I was kind of debating on using either the round brush or this one, but I'm kind of feeling this one today, and I'm just going to start bronzing up my face. So first I like to take this bronzer and just use circular motions on my cheek a little bit above my contour line. I just feel like with eyes this intense, we really need to add some color back into this face. And then I'm just going to go around, around the perimeter of my face as well. I feel like I literally use this blush all the time, but I'm going to be using Luminoso by Milani. A little goes a long way with this blush. It's really pigmented, so I'm just using a really, really light hand to blend some of it on my cheeks. I honestly don't really go very often without blush. Blush is pretty much a staple in any kind of makeup look that I do. I just feel like it adds so much, so you can totally go without it. I just prefer having it. For highlight, I'm going to be going into my Carly Bybel Deluxe Edition palette. Again, a palette that's very much loved, used a lot in almost every tutorial. Recently, I've been using a highlighter brush to apply my highlighter, but I got a little tip actually from one of Jaclyn Hill's makeup tutorials where she says she likes to use her beauty blender to apply the highlight. She also said that she used to apply it with a brush and then kind of pat over it with the beauty blender, but found that if you just go right into the highlighter with the beauty blender and apply it that way, she found that it just kind of melts into the skin and looks really nice. We're gonna give that a try. So I picked up a little bit of that gold highlight. I'm going to put a little bit back on my hand so we're not getting too much product. And I'm just going to bounce this right on the tops of my cheekbones. I feel like my beauty blender may have dried out a little bit, so I'm just going to spritz it. And let's give this a try again. Oh, okay. Nice to see you, girl. Huh. Okay, that's actually really pretty. Huh. I like that technique, actually. She's right though, because it's not like too intense. It just kind of looks like a really nice sheen on my cheeks. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Ooh, that's really pretty. I know some people are like super, super into highlight, really like a blinding highlight, but that's not really my thing. I like it maybe once in a while if I'm going to a really special event, but definitely not for an everyday sort of thing. So I really like this technique because I feel like you could also build it up if you wanted to. So I'm going to take it down the bridge of my nose as well. I'm going to squeeze my beauty blender so it's not as wide. Maybe even use like the very, very tip of my beauty blender. Yeah, there we go. Bounce it into the skin on the very tip of my nose. I like using this kind of gold highlight with these warm tones. I just feel like it looks really nice together. A little bit on my chin. I feel like this blush may be a little bit too intense, so I'm just going to go in with it with my beauty blender just a little bit, just to kind of push it back a little. Girl, you're going crazy. Lastly is lips, so I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off this lip mask that's been sitting on for quite a while now. I have a selection of ColourPop liquid lipsticks here. I don't know if I want to, I don't know, speed dial keeps speaking to me because it's a nice... Let's try this. We can always lighten it up if it's a little bit like too orange on orange. It's kind of like a brownish orange. So it's really pretty. I just think with a dark eye and a dark lip, it's a little bit too dark. So I'm gonna lighten it up. I think I'm gonna go in with Anastasia's Milkshake. Once this is completely dry, go right over it and lighten up the whole look a little bit more. Anastasia is super pigmented, so I'm just gonna do the bottom lip and then smush my lips together. The only thing about Anastasia's liquid lipsticks is they can be a little bit drying, but the color is really pretty. I'm just gonna add a little bit more, maybe more so toward the center. Alright you guys, so this is the finished, ooh, I forgot setting spray. Let me go ahead and quickly set my face using the Master Fix from Maybelline. I hope you guys enjoyed trying out these new products with me. Love the Morphe palette. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!